What it doesn't mean, I am almost 100% sure, is that she went and groveled and said, like, no, I will get on board with what you want, and we can side with Coil, and just take me back, please. Oh, hi, Imp. Like, that's not the situation.
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Sentinel 9.6, the Sophia chapter!
How you feeling?
I feel like it was incredibly satisfying and also incredibly unsatisfying.
Oh.
I really need to know what's going on with the Undersiders.
Yeah.
But the fight with Sophia was so good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
This is really, really fun.
Yes.
I want to hear, like, how you felt as you were going through it and whether the, like, twists and turns got you. But maybe we should summarize it and then return to that.
So, we start with Sophia, as Shadowstalker, out on patrol. She just had that altercation with Vista, and now she wants to go beat someone up. She's like, hope I see some looters. Ugh, no looters. Boo. She calls Emma. Emma, it turns out, her family has gone to Portland, I assume, Maine?
Yeah.
To weather the post-Leviathan cleanup. And Sophia complains about the other wards, how they're such children. They think that the city can be fixed, but Sophia knows that it's actually terrible. And at least Leviathan, like, revealed the city for what it really is. And she references that, like, all of the concerns of the wards seem so petty. And she's killed people and gone to school the next day and been fine. So I want to know more about that. So she's out on patrol, she is talking to Emma, and she sees this convoy of trucks, and she says, okay, either this is Coil soldiers, or this is supplies, which means there are a bunch of superheroes in the trucks, and there's potential for it being attacked. And either way, she's like, I kind of want to find out what's going on, so she hangs up with Emma and bounces across the roof. We get to see some of how her power works. We get some reflection on her view of the world with, like, predators and victims, basically. Mm-hmm. And as she's watching the convoy, Menya attacks it, and then Hookwolf and Storm Tiger and Cricket, and a bunch of what I think are just regular humans who are dressed up as Fenrir's Chosen. They have, like, some face paint to look like a wolf's face. Yeah. And they're sort of organized into groups.
I assume this is sort of the same type of people that are the people that attacked the dog shelter.
Yeah.
That caliber. Yeah.
Yes.
The type of people that Glory Girl was beating up in her interlude.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Members of Empire 88 who are not capes. So when that attack happens, Miss Militia and Assault come out of the trucks with a bunch of PRT soldiers, and they're fighting, and Sophia takes out Cricket because she's concerned that Cricket's sonar could detect her, and she works best when no one can see that she's there. She thinks about who else she could attack and is like, my arrows aren't going to be good against any of these other capes. So she starts shooting the human soldiers with Empire 88. And then she thinks about going down and fighting, hand-to-hand combat, because that's kind of what she wants. That's why she came out on patrol, because she wants the catharsis, she says. And then she sees Skitter. Skitter emerges from an alley, attacks the human soldiers with her bugs, sends sort of the bugs more broadly, doesn't seem to be attacking the PRT forces. It's unclear if it's just that they aren't susceptible in their armor, if Skitter isn't attacking them. She takes a bag of supplies from the truck and leaves. And Sophia goes after her and is, like, kind of thrilled. She's like, yes, you saw my face and you're working without a team now, which means no one's going to miss you. Ooh. And she loads her crossbow with one of her arrows that's, razor sharp. It has a razor sharp arrowhead on it. She's not going to be using her non-lethal ammunition, it seems. But the bugs detect her. They kind of fly through her body, and Skitter starts to run. And Sophia's like, okay, fine. I'm faster than you. I can chase you. And she catches up with Skitter and attacks her, but the bugs kind of slow her down. She doesn't manage to incapacitate Skitter and is like, okay, well, she doesn't really have any power against me. I can afford to, like, hound her, wear her down. But she does say, like, you really want to fight me? And Skitter doesn't say anything. Interestingly silent. And Sophia has the thought of, like, I could almost respect you as a fellow predator, which is ironic given her thoughts about Taylor earlier in the chapter. So Skitter runs. Sophia runs after her, shoots at her, but Skitter manages to duck, and Sophia realizes, like, oh, I think her bugs are watching what I'm doing. Skitter jumps over a fence, and Shadowstalker's like, this is so dumb. I can obviously just walk through the fence. But she shoots at Skitter through the fence, and her arrow kind of sparks at the fence, and she realizes it's electrified. She has special lenses that let her see that, so she, like, kind of activates them and is like, ooh, that was almost fatal. Because passing through an electrified object would hurt her just as much as if she had been human, potentially more. The PRT scientists haven't quite established how vulnerable she is to electricity, but she's definitely vulnerable. So she goes over the fence, but is like a little disturbed that Skitter, A, knew to do that to her, and B, was, you know, savvy enough about the area to have known that that fence was electrified. And Skitter had also tried the pepper spray on her earlier in the fight, and Sophia's like, ooh, that would also have hurt me. So she maybe knows 2 of my weaknesses or got lucky, unclear. And especially on top of Skitter having seen her face, she's like, this is way too much knowledge about me. And kind of, perhaps this feeds into her deciding that Skitter needs to go. Maybe she was already on that page, a little unclear. So she shoots at Skitter, who is running with her bugs very close around her. Or it's not her at all, unclear. And when Sophia shoots at her, the swarm splits into 2 humanoid figures running in opposite directions. She's like, oh, crap. So she shoots at both, and one of them stumbles and falls. So she goes after that one, but that one's just bugs. So she turns around and goes after the other one, and that one ends up splitting into 4. So the other swarm, which presumably had Skitter in it, splits into 4, and Sophia manages to eliminate 3 of them, and then attacks the 4th. Pushes her down into the water, face in the water. Skitter's able to turn over because Sophia's in her shadow state, but when she tries to get up, Sophia, like, gets heavy again and weighs her down just long enough so that she can't get up, and she pulls her razor-sharp arrowhead out and holds it to Skitter's throat as if she's about to slit it, and kind of tries to goad Skitter into saying something, and Skitter doesn't. She just goes limp, and Sophia tries to slit her throat, but the fabric doesn't cut. Sophia's like, I could just turn the arrow, like, Misty or whatever, and put it inside her and kill her that way, but that's noticeable, so I'd have to have a way to, like, smash her up beyond recognition afterwards so they wouldn't be able to trace the kill to me. And then, as she's thinking about that, she's plunged into darkness.
What?
I know. Who could it be? When she's in darkness, she can't move as well, and her cells, normally, when she's in shadow state, get oxygen from the air that kind of flows through her, but she can't get enough when she's in the darkness, so she kind of shifts into, like, a medium, half shadow state, and then something charges through her and kind of bursts her apart, and she has to reassemble herself. That happens twice. It's very painful and uncomfortable. And then, when she tries to use her crossbow, her arm kind of contorts, and it's clear that this is Regent's power twisting her. And she can't keep herself up, and she's kind of on the ground, somewhat incapacitated. The darkness dissipates, and she sees the Undersiders. She sees Bitch, Hellhound as she calls her, with 4 dogs who are on chains. 3 of them are pulling on the chains. One of them is missing an eye and very well behaved. And I just teared up because it's Angelica. She's still there.
Yeah, the other ones are obviously new. She has to keep them on the chains.
Right.
Because she's training them for the first time.
Yeah. Or maybe not for the first time, but, like, this is, early in the process.
Right.
And Grue is there. And a girl Shadowstalker has never seen before. She's wearing a black scarf and a pale gray mask with pointed horns arching over the top of her head. The eyes of the mask had lenses that were black from corner to corner, stylized to look fierce, more animal than human. We don't really see, as far as I can tell, her using a power, but we learn later that she's called Imp. So that's really all we get about her. And Tattletale, Regent, and Skitter are also there. And Sophia just kind of starts laughing. And it's like, Skitter, you just like, was that a joke, you having betrayed your team? And Skitter shakes her head and then says, things are different now. She disguises her voice, having the bugs kind of chitter and buzz at the same frequency. And Shadowstalker observes that she hadn't done that at the gala. She just kind of had this quiet voice that was almost creepy for how quiet it was. But now she's disguising her voice and doesn't explain beyond that, just things are different now. And takes Regent's scepter, which we know is a taser, and pokes it into Sophia's stomach and tases her. And Sophia has to fight the instinct to turn into her shadow state because she knows it'll be as lethal, if not more, or potentially lethal, as bad, if not worse.
Right.
So she gets through the tasing, which is, rough but survivable, and lies there. Her limbs are unresponsive, and there's a deep, furious rage growing inside her chest. And then they grab her. Grue sits her up and gets the others to lift her. Basically we lift on 3, and we end with them counting to 3. So it seems like, and Sophia had conjectured that Taylor had baited her, or Skitter had baited her.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what they're doing, but it seems like maybe they had an intentional plan of kidnapping Shadowstalker.
Very interesting.
She is now the nemesis of 2 of their group members.
Yeah, well, so walk me through your understanding of what was going on when Skitter showed up. Like, how did you feel when you first saw Skitter? And then, did you ever sense that a trap was being set? Because, Sophia starts to think about it. What was your headspace like as you were reading that?
So when Skitter first showed up, I was thrilled and delighted and alarmed because, of course, there's, the danger. But
I love that moment because, Sophia has this, she sees Skitter and she's like, a feral smile broke across her face. And, I'm smiling too, but it's different. It's a different kind of smile.
You're smiling at Sophia's expense. Yeah, I was very glad to see her because, of course, there's been this mystery and she hasn't been present in any way. It was also only the second time we've seen her from the outside, so that was fun.
Yes.
We got the description of, she's skinny, but not in an attractive way. Which really does mesh with how Taylor has described herself. She's skinny.
Spindly.
That's how it goes. Spindly, yes. And I did, when she emerged, I was like, okay, is she, doing a vigilante thing, helping the heroes defend the supplies, but she's not interested in actually siding with the heroes. Then she took the supplies, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Maybe she does need the supplies. I was hoping she was on, a grand mission, but okay, maybe she just needs stuff. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And Sophia was thinking about how, she's alone now, and I was like, is she? Because I knew, she'd been talking to Tattletale. I don't see a simple way for her to be with the Undersiders again. That has not been resolved by the end of this chapter. I'm still curious about that. But I was hopeful that she had allies because, of course, I want her to have more cards up her sleeve than Sophia suspects. And then when she ran, it was great watching her get her own back. Sophia was so overconfident, and I knew that it wasn't going to be that easy for her.
Right.
I also knew, you had told me, you were like, you can read this chapter ahead of time, but read it all at once. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to stop in the middle, which I really appreciated. So I did, I assumed it was going to go well for Skitter in the end. The narrative setup is also you don't expect Sophia to win that altercation. But it was, really fun just seeing their powers pitted against each other.
Yeah.
Then when Grue showed up, I was not expecting it, but it wasn't necessarily a shock. It was oh, okay, so this is what's going on. So she is not alone. Yay. And then I was very surprised to see a new person.
Yes.
And that was kind of what Dinah had said. It's it won't be the same Undersiders. It's a little unclear.
Depending on who comes and who goes.
Yeah. Who comes was the imp part, I guess. Or we had never seen her before. The name was new. You asked me about it last chapter. I'm very curious when she joined, whether it was after Taylor rejoined them? Very unclear.
Do you want to speculate about the Undersider situation now, or do you want to circle back to it later?
I want to speculate about them now because it is the most interesting part.
Yeah.
Because it's what's coming next, I assume. We're going to get back to Taylor's perspective. So, she is fighting with the Undersiders.
Right. Sophia had heard a rumor that she was operating alone between the old boardwalk and the east end of downtown.
That might be an intentional rumor that she started.
Well, exactly. So presumably they intentionally were at least controlling the information so that they could more effectively lure Sophia, which does seem to be, what is happening here, right? And
I am curious how much that was that is their goal versus that's one piece of many things they're doing.
Well, to me, the the extended debate that Sophia has about like, wait, she knew there was a random electrified fence here? Right? Like, and she's like, that's so weird. It's like, oh, well, because she didn't know I was going to follow her, so she must have just been quick enough on her feet to connect those dots. But like, now that we see what ends up happening, it's like, oh, well, like, maybe plan A was the pepper spray, plan B was the fence, and then plan C was the taser, right? Like, I sort of feel like it makes sense that, you know, Taylor was definitely ready with multiple ways to beat Sophia.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I assume they're, like, watching the ward's headquarters and, like, oh, Sophia's out on patrol. Like, we can, you know. But my question is, was this, like, Operation Get Sophia, or is getting Sophia part of Operation ?
True. Yeah, exactly. We don't know. I mean, right. So why would, if it is either of those things, why?
So for the first one, I think it's reasonable to conjecture that Taylor, in a position of like, okay, so Sophia is one of the worst people I know. She is violent, manipulative, an incredibly good liar, very dangerous, very aggressive, and she is currently a ward. She's a cape, she has all this power, and she's like in with the good guys somehow. This is a bad situation. It's sort of the opposite conclusion of the one that Vista reaches, maybe. Vista's like, we need every one of us. And maybe Taylor's like, no, this can't happen. Like, she is a liability in some way. And the idea is that, like, she can't be running around loose. Like, we know she's not just using non-lethal ammunition. She's already violating her patrol. She is a bad apple and needs to be fished out of the barrel kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Taylor cares about the quality of the barrel for its own. Like, I don't know how much she believes in a potentially good barrel without Sophia in it.
Well, where we last left her, almost certainly it doesn't matter, right? She thinks like she's not quite maybe
the heroes
a
are morally bankrupt,
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely feeling
right.
that.
So she's not trying to make the wards better necessarily, but I could see her feeling like, no, Sophia is too evil to be out there with this power, and we need to somehow take her down. But I don't think that's what it is, because, like we were just saying, she doesn't really think the heroes are good without Sophia. Like, I think she's taking Sophia as a symptom rather than, you know, the major problem with the heroes.
Yeah.
So I think there's got to be something else going on. I'm not sure what it would be. Like, I can't imagine she's going around, or they're going around, kidnapping heroes in general. Like, it's not like they're trying to build a basement full of heroes.
Right.
Like, that doesn't really make sense. And I can't imagine they would do that to any of the other heroes unless they had some really good ulterior motive. Because, like, Sophia deserves it, but they don't have reason to think the other heroes do. And Taylor would care about whether they deserve it.
Yeah, so that's interesting, because you haven't actually mentioned retribution as a motive for Taylor.
She wouldn't do this for retribution.
Right, but what Taylor has judged Sophia to be gives her license to use her in a way that she wouldn't use other people. That's a very interesting needle to thread, I think. Because you have to be really sure about sort of the purity of the distinction you're drawing there, right? That's a very tricky thing. But that's interesting.
There's also sort of a prevention element where it's like, no, Sophia is evil and can't be running the streets with this power. Like, you know.
Yeah.
But what you were saying about we have license to use her, I do think maybe they're planning to use her. Like, they're not going to kill her, or they would have just killed her. They're not just going to keep her tied up forever. I mean, she's a particularly difficult person to contain. So what are they going to do with her? Are they going to try to ransom her? Are they going to try to use her? I mean, I would not try to, like, make her a forced ally. That seems like a very bad person to choose for that. Right.
So, like, yeah, what could it possibly be?
That's
Ransom
such a good
seems
question.
Plausible, but what else, you know? If you want to open yourself up to more off-the-wall ideas, I would just love to hear some speculation. But, you know.
Well, okay, so there's also the broader question of, what is Taylor doing with the Undersiders? Are they siding with Coil right now? We don't know how much time has passed since Coil's interlude. At Coil's interlude, Tattletale had told him, like, no, we have to sort out our own house. Which could have been, they're in actual turmoil because Taylor's not there and people are having doubts about whatever. Could also have been, we need a way to put Coil off because we're not siding with him. Mm-hmm. Or at least we haven't decided yet. Mm-hmm. And we need to delay things, or we need to put plans in place. I want it to be they're not siding with Coil and they need to put a lot of pieces in place before they let him know that, because they're a huge liability for him.
Right.
Especially Tattletale, who knows how his power works. Like, that is the most danger that Coil has put himself in. And Tattletale is perhaps the person he has least over a barrel of his people, because she didn't really have a fundamental need, except for, money, survival, that he fulfilled.
Right.
Really, he just bought her. But, she's got money now,
I feel like her interlude gives the impression, she was totally coerced. And so I think the question is, what else does she have other than Coil?
No, true. Well, the Undersiders.
The other Undersiders. Right,
yeah.
right. But that's true for most of the other Undersiders.
I mean, she was coerced when she was alone and didn't have a gang around her.
Yeah.
Coil gave her a gang. It did seem like she was still... Everything she said has made it seem like she still intends to side with Coil. Everything she said to Taylor was very much like, you would have to make some compromises and get on board with Coil to come back with us. I don't believe that Taylor would have done that.
Mm-hmm.
It really didn't seem like that's where she was going. So if Taylor's with the Undersiders, either it's something temporary, or the Undersiders have agreed to not join Coil.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that Taylor will have had to convince them of that in some way. And I think that would need to have two pieces. I mean, we've talked about her being the heart of the team.
Mm-hmm.
She does have some emotional sway with them. They also felt very betrayed by her, so she's not just going to be able to pull on that lever. But if she is able to offer some sort of vision or plan that is compelling enough, combined with managing to somehow smooth over that what she did to them, I don't know. I mean, it's possible.
Things are different now, right?
Things
it's
are
a
different
very
now.
capacious statement.
What does that mean? What it doesn't mean, I am almost 100% sure, is that she went and groveled and said, no, I will get on board with what you want, and we can side with Coil, and just take me back, please. Oh, hi, Imp. That's not the situation. So I do think she has some bigger plan. I suspect the allegiance of the other Undersiders to that plan is not yet secure. I think they are agreeing to work with her in some way, perhaps temporarily, maybe as sort of a proof of concept.
Okay.
If she can accomplish stage 1 of this plan, it's much more believable that they would move on, that she'd be able to move on to the other stages.
Yeah.
And then maybe they'd be willing to throw in with her for real. And right now they're just kind of stalling Coil and seeing how it goes. But for them to want to do that, there must be something so attractive. I guess they were, most of them were kind of horrified by the Dinah thing. None of them really want to work with Coil, but that I feel like would be true of Grue and Tattletale. Bitch, I think, doesn't trust anybody, doesn't think that anyone would be better to work with than Coil.
Right.
But I could see her not wanting to put herself in someone's power like that. So.
Right. And certainly she's going to be the one who feels the most hurt by what Taylor did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole loyalty thing. Yeah. And Regent, I think, doesn't particularly care about the Dinah thing, and he likes what Coil can offer him, but he's also easily buyable, and, maybe does like having friends. So, yeah, and then we don't know anything about Imp, including her power.
Yeah, Imp theories? Anything?
Yeah, she has sort of a demonic, impish kind of thing going on.
Yeah. The mask kind of sounds like the emoji,
Yeah.
I think it's a gray mask, not a purple one. But
I love that
basically...
emoji. Yeah. I suspect she's a heavy hitter because they would have wanted to replace Taylor. So that's who they would have been recruiting.
A new recruit, yeah.
Unless she's just temporarily there for no reason. Yeah, I assume she's a new recruit. Because we hadn't heard her name, it seems like she wasn't part of the Leviathan fight. She could have been an independent villain in the city before who had just never come up. I don't know why anyone would come to Brockton Bay right now, unless it's a good opportunity or something. You like turmoil. Clearly the Slaughterhouse 9 showed up. So, some people are showing up right now, but it's not like it's a great time to move to the city. So probably she was there before.
Okay.
Unclear.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. Power, I think I don't remember what I predicted. Imp does make me think it's going to be something fire-based, but again,
I think you were saying also kind of a nuisance power.
Shouldn't quite give that impression.
Fierce,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, some sort of pyrokinesis would be what's suggested by her name. Yeah.
Nice. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, but I have no idea what Taylor has pitched to them. That feels like a huge black box in the story right now.
And we talked a lot about how just by the end of Arc 8, we had already gotten some distance from Taylor because of the 10-day time jump. And now that we've had a whole arc not in her head, I'm feeling that even more.
It's been 2 days.
And this whole scene is such a tease,
yes,
right? The things
really
are different
is.
now, you know, getting the answer to the question, right? Does her plan involve the Undersiders, right?
Yes,
so
it
the
does.
answer is yes, but we don't know anything more than that.
Did she just pay them to help her with this? She has that money that she doesn't want to use for anything else. So.
Right. But then what's Taylor going to do with Sophia if this is the end of the Undersiders involvement?
Oh, I assume this isn't the end of their involvement.
Yeah. Well, you're right. You were saying it's part 1. Well, one question I have about it is, were they open to killing her with the electricity traps and stuff? Or do they know through tattletale knowledge that it's actually not lethal?
I actually forgot that, of course, Tattletale knows.
Well, there's this bit where they tase her at the end and Shadowstalker's I have to try really hard not to because I don't want to die. But I have to assume either they were willing for Sophia to screw up and die, or they knew Sophia's power better than she did. Because it seems the
latter seems very likely.
Yeah, accidentally electrocuting her to the death seems like not something Taylor would come up with or be okay with.
No, Taylor would not want to do that. I could see an argument for if she gets killed chasing me because she wanted to attack me for no good reason, then she's had it coming.
Yeah.
I mean, Taylor is a villain, Sophia's a hero, so it's not like she was completely out of bounds to chase her. But
Yeah.
I assume, it's very easy to assume that Tattletale knows what that would do to Sophia and knows that it would incapacitate her but not kill her. So.
Yeah.
But Sophia was willing to kill Taylor.
Yeah.
In fact, tried.
Yeah.
Attempted murder.
How did you feel about that?
It felt in line with what we'd seen of Sophia so far.
Yeah.
But also way out there in terms of so really anything Taylor does to Sophia at this point is justified because Sophia tried to kill her in cold blood.
Yeah.
Was sitting on her, pinning her down and tried to slit her throat and had time to be oh, this doesn't cut. Oh, absolutely brutal.
It's so interesting that you say that. It really does.
Narratively, I don't think Taylor would view it as I can do anything to her now, but I'm ooh, anything feels justified now. This is fun.
No, but I think you're absolutely right that's kind of what this chapter does. We don't like Sophia. We've seen nothing to...
But all the worst she done was hurt Taylor's ear.
Credit her. Yeah.
She also tormented her for a year and a half, but
Yeah, but right, so we get her confessing to murder, unless she's bragging, right, earlier on in the chapter.
I don't think so. I think she's really a murderer.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
You're right. She could theoretically
have been lying.
And I think
the party line was Shadowstalker was brought in for an almost fatal incident.
Yep.
So the question that invited to me is this a hero cover-up where they kind of made a murder go away and said oh, Shadowstalker, it was only, an attempted murder? Or is it that since she's joined the wards, she's gotten away with killing people? Or before she got recruited. There's a very interesting space here of
answers,
how complicit are the heroes in kind of the ongoing crimes of Sophia.
That's a good question. What Sophia thinks about Piggot is that she's this, manipulative schemer, predator kind of character. And Sophia appreciates her.
She's an enabler. She facilitates Sophia doing what she wants to do.
Because she fits her PR vision of how the system works.
Exactly.
So I could see Piggot having covered up a murder.
Yeah. Well, Piggot's been such an interesting enigma to me so far. And last chapter, I was kind of oh yeah, maybe, she's got this under control. And I'm oh God, if Sophia's right about her, then Taylor's right. The whole system needs to go, right? It's not a credit to Piggot that Sophia is
no,
of all of the people that I can possibly tolerate, Predators, Emma, and Director Piggot. It's wow. Rarefied company.
Damning with strong praise.
But going back to what we're doing with Sophia in this chapter, right? There was a little bit when she's fighting the Nazis, where I'm like, oh, this is nice. She's killing Nazis. Like, this is a scene where I can root for Sophia.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Sophia versus Cricket, I'm 100%.
She's probably just knocking them out because,
But I'm just saying, it's because, like, you have the Nazis there as, like, the most killable, punchable people.
Which is why Bo said he put them in the story. It's like,
right. And, then we get her chasing our girl. And, like you said, like, you know that Taylor's gonna win. Or, like... That's where it seems like it's going to be going. But the chills that I felt when she pulls out the lethal crossbow bolt, like that beautiful description of like the moonlight on the razor's edge or whatever it was as she's loading it. Because she doesn't say like, I'm going to kill her, right? But then you get it. Like the stakes go up and you're like, uh-oh. And then
she has a line where she's like, I don't want to waste my good arrows.
Yeah.
You're like, then, the good ones.
Right.
Okay,
you just get, like, it's so sudden when she's like, and then she, like, sliced her throat, basically. And then it's not until the next paragraph that it's like, oh, it didn't cut. Like, what? That's annoying. So, but you're absolutely right that now it's like, okay, well, this sort of opens up narratively the chance for the Undersiders really to mess with Sophia. And the beautiful thing is it does that without Taylor having to tell anybody about what Sophia had done to her before, which she may or may not have done today.
I was sort of assuming she did because actually this hero is one of my bullies. It's just so compelling.
Yeah.
Like, I could also see her just not wanting to be vulnerable in that way, but like when she's trying to win over people who probably don't want to work with her or trust her and is able to be like, hey, remember that story I told you about my bullies? I saw Shadowstalker's face and she is my bully. And like that gives her such a strong bond with Grue, who's like, ugh, Shadowstalker is so annoying.
That's true. That's a really good reason for her. Yeah. The other thing it makes me think of is when Taylor saw Sophia's face, they were like, hey, so this doesn't end well. Heroes and villains that learn each other's identities, they're going to end up trying to kill each other.
Oh, yeah.
And they were right. Sophia gets alone with Skitter, and it's like, yep, she's going to die.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's just so... Everything about Sophia being a hero is so ironic. Because it's like, if you get them alone, Sophia will try to kill Skitter. Skitter will not try to kill Sophia. Like, I was so delighted by the irony of her being like, I've killed people. And just remembering Armsmaster being like, those people you're hanging out with, 2 of them are murderers. I was like,
yes. Well, yeah. Sophia and Armsmaster, also murderers, right?
That's so true. They're the 2 murderers.
Oh my god. That is so funny. Right, yeah. And like, the thing is, that was such a... It was so effective against Taylor, right? That's such a glimpse into how far we've gotten from the early innocent Taylor to now.
I mean, I think Taylor still cares about that, though, is the thing. Yeah.
Do you remember when, this was a delightful irony for the listeners, when in the hospital scene, you were like, I don't know why Taylor didn't just kill Sophia, just like slit her throat right there.
Ooh, slitting the throat. Nice. I mean, I do know why.
So, another thing that I love about the attempted murder is the reason Sophia hesitates, or the reason Skitter lives, is not because of any moral compunction that Sophia has about murder, but it's because she's not so much of a monster that she is going to leave evidence behind, right?
Right, she's very calculating.
Right. So the fact that her hesitation is just, okay, well, I gotta have a way to cover this up before I kill her.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, if Sophia was more, I don't know, like more...
deranged?
Yeah, more deranged, more evil, less lawful. Like, I'm not sure...
I don't think it's more evil. I think it's less collected, less in control of herself.
Right. But, then the gamble wouldn't have worked and Taylor might have died, right? Like, her teammates were there to help her, but there is a moment, right? Like, where if Sophia is more angry, more careless, right, she could have killed her and didn't.
I mean, it actually does lead to a question of, like, why did they leave it that long? Did they want her to do the attempted murder? Because, I mean, she had already shot at Taylor with the potentially lethal bolts, but did they really want the red-handed, I drew my arrow across your throat moment? Did they know she was going to do that? Were they waiting for it? Because Grue could have apprehended her several moments beforehand.
Well, that's a really good question, because one of the things that I wanted to ask you about was that moment when Skitter goes limp. So she holds the knife out. She says, "Game over, you little freak." And then Skitter cocked her head a little, as if analyzing Shadowstalker from a different perspective. "What are you looking at?" Shadowstalker spat the word. "Nothing to say? No last words? No begging? No fucking apologies?" Skitter went limp, letting her head rest against the ground, the water lapping over most of her mask. Dark curls fanned out in the water around her, swaying as the water rippled. "Guess I don't need to worry about the villain who saw my face now." Shadowstalker went solid and drew the razor-sharp tip of her bolt across Skitter's throat. So yeah, I was going to ask you, what is Taylor thinking and feeling in this moment? We know she's not talking because she's keeping her identity secret. And when she does talk, she uses the swarm as cover. So yeah, what you just said, the idea of Skitter's trying to bait out some kind of further attack is compatible with this idea of she's going limp. But yeah, this cocking her head a little, do
you think they recorded her?
Yeah, analyzing her.
Did they film her? Is that do they want to have footage of Sophia trying to kill her, basically? The reason she goes limp is maybe to make it clear that it's not active combat.
Yeah.
It could also be a signal to the others, all right, this is it, time to step in.
Yeah. I love that as kind of a PR play, right?
Yeah.
Based on the knowledge and the way they were able to get leverage in Arc 8 over Armsmaster was with the "you don't want the secret getting out" thing. And so this is another kind of
they could use this for leverage, potentially.
Right.
They're we have this video of one of the wards, the probationary ward, who theoretically is better now, sitting on top of this villain saying, "Guess I don't have to worry about this villain who saw my face," and drawing a lethal arrowhead across her throat.
I love that.
Yeah, so I don't know. What would they be using the leverage for? Really unclear.
Well, as you said, this is only phase 1. So we'll see how many phases to the plan.
Yeah. It was really fun to watch Taylor use all of her new tricks against Sophia.
Yes.
It's just so effective because, Taylor had a leg up in that she had backup, but she wasn't using the backup in any way for most of this fight, and she really held her own.
I know.
She knew the ground, she clearly mapped out, the fence route and all of that stuff, but
It's just so satisfying. The splitting, you talked about in the summary, just the way that Sophia's "Oh, I felt a bug pass through me," and then bam, Skitter is off. It's just as soon as she senses her, with her bugs, she's gone.
Yeah. Presumably she already knew that Sophia was there because that's why she was there.
Yes.
But she staged it so that she found her with the bugs.
Yes.
And then, she used the bugs to slow Sophia down. She, uses them as recon, as she does very well. And then she used her new human swarm trick.
Yes.
Which was so good.
Yeah, and she, even having one of the swarms fake being injured to draw her off.
She must be so good. It's really hard to make something look like a human body in motion.
Yeah.
Even a human body at rest.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't have, because the bugs are kind of flying around it, so it wouldn't quite look like a human body anyway, but the way a human moves is hard to imitate.
Yeah.
She's really good.
It's so cool. I also had the thought, it's interesting that you get Taylor stealing supplies, which I think, again, is we want to see her stepping in, oh, she's a hero.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And then it's a little bit of a disappointment. I felt a little bit oh.
I know. But then she dropped the supplies when she noticed Sophia, so clearly she was never intending to take the supplies
Right, so then by the end of the chapter, you're oh,
there's something bigger happening.
Right, probably that's also just part of the plan. Right. This is the excuse for Skitter to be there so that...
Though it's possible the others picked up the supplies and got,
Yeah. But, and I think you mentioned, Shadowstalker's thinking, well, I can afford to wear her down, right? When are people going to stop underestimating her, right? It's so fun to see her be super effective, but it's she's joining a long line of villains and other opponents to Skitter who just are what's she going to do to me? And
she just has bugs. That's nothing,
But actually, it's true, though, because part of the calculus is Skitter's alone. And this is another beat in the story where Taylor can't do it alone. right?
Yeah.
She needs her allies, and she gets them here. And it's even more satisfying. The darkness is there. These giant shapes start going through her, and you're like, oh, that's the dogs.
That's
and then
the
her
dogs.
arm twists, and you're like, that's Regent. You're like, yeah, they're all here. They're all here. It's so exciting.
It was just really fun to see them show up, and to see them show up by their effects, like you said.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, Tattletale was there. She's the one who told them about electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so fun. It was really fun to watch what Bitch does with the dogs when they're not trained yet.
Right. She has them on the huge chains and muzzled. Yeah. So they can kind of run, but she's not trusting them.
Right. And she doesn't have them as big as she could make them.
Right.
Because
Right. They're
she
smaller.
needs to be able to control them.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really fun to watch that process. And it's great that she's going to have this pack of 4 dogs. It's going to take a little while.
The next generation.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder how she chooses them. I'm sure there was a choice process. I hope one of them is Sirius.
Yeah.
That would be really nice.
Yeah.
The one that Taylor healed.
I hope so too. Sirius wasn't on the memorial, was he?
I don't
think
remember
Bullet
noticing
was,
it. Yeah. It is really nice that they all have names.
Yeah.
She's so many dogs.
One thing I really liked, just a little bit of Sophia's personality that I picked up on this read, is when she sees Taylor and it's like, she's spindly. Is that the right word? It just reminded me of when she and Flechette are hanging out, and she's like, another crossbow aficionado. Is that the right word? This is just a little...
It's her catchphrase.
Yeah, it's a little quirk, or, in how she talks or thinks, which I thought was really funny.
I liked seeing the way in which Grue's power counteracts Sophia's.
Yes.
Her cells don't get enough oxygen when she's in his
Yes.
darkness, so they have to shift back to partially solid.
Yeah, and no wonder, right, the fact that his power is annoying, right, is of course going to get to her. And I think she says, I've thought of him as my nemesis after my first humiliating defeat. And I'm like, humiliating is such a telling word, right? Because of course she was overconfident. She didn't foresee this power interaction, right? She got taken out in a really embarrassing way, and she's going to be nursing that wound forever.
Oh, yeah. And it seems like she's someone who really cares about not being impeded.
Yeah.
Which actually does fit with her power, being able to walk through things.
Yeah.
And someone who holds her back from the things she can do and wants to do is going to be the most annoying to her.
Yeah.
And she says she's worked hard to drive Grue out of town, but hasn't succeeded.
Yeah. Yeah, getting to see what her breaker state is like in more detail was also really fun. There's this bit where she goes into it early on. There was no near silent roar of blood in her ears, no need to blink, no production of saliva in her mouth or movement of food and water in her gut. She just existed. But the movement of air through her body made her feel just as alive, more alive in a very different way.
That's such a great point that she just wants to exist.
It suspends her feeling of being embodied.
Yeah.
Right? It's just even in a non-specific
Who hasn't
way.
wanted that?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
It's escaping the horrible pain of humdrum existence.
Yep.
Right? And it fits, I think, your theory on her trigger event being dissociation related or something. This sort of ability to just yep, I'm just going to exist and not be in the world for a second. And yeah, we had the thing with the pepper spray. Fun to see Taylor's inventory again. But that...
I should have realized when Taylor knew about the electricity that was Tattletale. Grue was not the first Undersider to step in.
Oh, that's a great point! Yes! No, that's a great point! I did want to talk... I don't know if we've talked about this on mic, so apologies, listeners, if we're repeating ourselves. But the way that Sophia lunges back from the pepper spray is she's so quick on her feet. And, she's not an easy target. She's very practiced. But you had been joking, I think, is she cheating on the track team?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
obviously she is, right? Just a little bit at a time. And it came up, I think maybe... Wildbow confirmed it, but when we did the bookstore fight chapter, people were talking about it. And I don't remember if we talked about this on mic or not.
We might
but
have.
There's a bit where Taylor's I swung to hit her, but she was too fast. And the implication is that Sophia, the only reason Sophia got away was because she used her power just for a little bit to back off.
Yeah.
And so, and you're right, even though we know that Skitter's going to beat Shadowstalker in this scene. It's fun that she holds her own, you know.
Oh, she really
She's quick
does.
on her feet.
Yeah.
She's very, an effective opponent.
Man, though, she must be so furious because she came out on patrol because she was so frustrated by Vista, needling her, pitying her, and she wanted the catharsis. And then she had this fight that she lost, and she got taken down, and now she's completely incapacitated. She is trapped by her body.
It ends with the impotence and anger.
Yeah, impotence is the worst for her.
Yeah.
Like, she wants power, she wants freedom, she wants to be unimpeded.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's a very Sophia thing, but it's also a very Worm thing. Like, I feel like we've seen so many characters, like Canary, or even Danny back in the first interlude, like, struggling with powerlessness.
Yes.
And so many of the characters have all
it's
these
about
powers.
power and powers.
Exactly. Yeah, one other little thing about her power before we go more into Sophia or Emma, probably is what you want to talk about. The thing where the dogs like break her apart and she has to go back together, right? It's really interesting to me that this is kind of a weakness that her power has, right? So she says it left her breathing hard, feeling like she just put her body through 5 hours of the hardest exercise of her life when the dog goes through her. And we saw Ballistic stopping her in the fight with the wards by shooting stuff through her, right? So just if somebody's like punching through her, that's fine. But like a full body blow seems to be really, really bad. And this reminds me a little bit about how Weld describes, like, he feels wrong when he has to, like, fix his body.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how powers like this seem to come with mental friction, right? Like, both Weld and Sophia are, like, practically quite invulnerable, but they both have this sort of, like, mental tax on being able to stay that way. Like, it's a really interesting push and pull there. And so I feel like certainly that's good writing on Wildbow's part to make sure that the powers always have like a push and pull to keep them interesting.
Like, they can't be killed or maybe even seriously injured, but it's not comfortable or easy for them to be invulnerable like that. Yeah.
Right. And so, I really like, it's just the sort of superpower procedural stuff is really satisfying in this chapter, just hearing about how it all works.
While we're on the subject of her power, I really liked this part. The material and gravel of the rooftop were still warm from the day's sunlight, even submerged beneath a thin layer of water from the rain. This rising heated air from the surface offered her an almost imperceptible added buoyance.
Thermals!
It's a thermal! Shout out to Anna Wharfs. So should we talk about her philosophy and her conversation with Emma?
Yeah, I mean, which one do you want to get into first? I kind of want to ask you about Emma.
Oh my gosh, yeah, okay. We didn't get that much Emma.
Well, say more.
She responded to some stuff. She didn't say much of her own, from her own perspective. Like, mostly she kind of just responded to what Sophia was saying, and she didn't, respond very strongly in any way. So I feel like we're very much still in the dark about her, which is, clever to give us a whole chapter from Sophia's point of view and even have her talk to Emma without answering any of the questions that we have about Emma, really.
I mean, did your theories or vibes about their relationship change or about Emma change?
Well, so first of all, it seems that Shadowstalker has had her power for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Which is longer than she's been friends with Emma.
Yeah.
So I was wrong that she and Emma and Madison had a joint trigger event before freshman year because clearly
the timeline
Sophia
doesn't seem to be adding up.
Sophia also got her powers relatively young.
Yeah.
Like, she must have been 13.
Yeah.
So, while it is not impossible for Emma to also be a cape, she probably didn't have a joint trigger event with Sophia and Madison, unfortunately. It also kind of felt like, they clearly are close friends, but Sophia does have the thought that, there were some predators she could admit that were even useful. Emma came to mind. The girl went a long way towards making life out of costume tolerable, which might be kind of understatement,
Yeah.
But it did sort of seem like, it's not like Emma came to mind, I love her. It was like Emma came to mind, I guess she's useful.
Yeah. And the comparing her to Piggot in that way also is such a... It's so sad to me about how Sophia must feel about Emma. Because it's almost like she facilitates my ability to bully Taylor, and thus she is valuable to me.
Uh-huh.
And what we see here, I just found it a little sad. And like, I don't like Sophia or Emma, but I feel like Emma's a really important person for Sophia in this chapter. She's there listening, right? She's the voice on the phone. Sophia just needs to rant and complain. Emma's heard it all before, but she takes it in, right? The bit where Sophia's lost in her own mind and she realizes she's still on the phone. Emma's like watching TV in the background. I just feel like Emma's like, I mean, she's probably bored or whatever too, but it's just like, it's clear that they have a friendship.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of clear that Sophia doesn't value it. Or she's like, I feel like she is
would
not
never want to
recognizing.
admit that
She's not
it.
recognizing that Emma is being a good friend to her, in addition to being just like an outlet for her venting. Which is like, I was like, it's kind of a sad situation. I mean,
I want to ask
Sophia
this
sucks
question,
so
like,
much.
what's her damage? Yeah.
But yeah, there's a real friendship there. And the moment that I thought was very intriguing is when Sophia says, I want to scream in their face, fuck you, you little shit, shut the fuck up, I've killed people, and then I washed the blood off my hands and went to school and acted normal the next day. Silence hung on the line for a few long moments. I remember, Emma spoke, a touch subdued.
Was she there?
And it's so subdued is the perfect word, because it does not give us any real information.
Yep.
It's just describing the tone of her voice, and you can interpret it so many different ways.
Yeah. I want
Was
to
she
know,
there? Was she at school the next day? Right? Like,
I mean, probably she was at school the next day at a minimum, but like, was she there when Sophia killed people? Did she help kill the people? Did she kill people herself? Like,
yeah. But the subdued, right? How is Emma feeling about it? Is she...
We really, really don't know.
Uncomfortable? Is she upset?
It's sort of read as uncomfortable,
sad?
but like it was very restrained in its descriptiveness.
Yeah. Really, really tantalizing.
But we also do get Sophia saying to Emma, like, I've killed people, etc., etc. Like, clearly the level of trust there is really high.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't new information for Emma, but like the fact that Emma is aware that Sophia kills people.
Yeah. The other thing that felt a little bit like circumstantial evidence against your theory is just this fascinating difference between Emma and Sophia, that Emma left when it got bad.
Yeah.
She and her family kind of escaped, right? Like, Alan is able to, put them up in a hotel in Portland or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they have family there or something, right? But they're able to get out. And then Sophia's stuck in Brockton Bay, which, as we've seen, it's always been bad, and now it's worse than it's ever been.
I thought it was so ironic. Sophia's going on about, like, oh, these wards, like, they're still children living in their comfortable, cozy little worlds. And I'm like, Emma left town to, like, go hang out and, like, go shopping with her family in Portland. Like, do you not look down on her for being sheltered? Like,
exactly. And we've seen, like, this arc has been so insider-outsider, right? And so, like, Sophia, for all of her faults, seems to be a girl of Brockton Bay.
Yes.
And what we're seeing here is that maybe Emma is too, but she can leave anytime she wants, right? Which is not really something that's true for
and it doesn't seem like Sophia resents that specifically.
That's true. Yeah.
Which is weird. I'm like, maybe it's just that she's used to that. And
Yeah. But it's that, to me, that feels like, oh yeah, Emma and Sophia are like different in some really important ways.
Yeah. And also, I'm curious, like, what the heck is Sophia's backstory? If she looks at these wards who go out and fight crime every night and have had to grow up in a lot of ways way before their time and say, like, ugh, they're children. Like, what are you talking about? They're sheltered. They're like the least sheltered teenagers in the city.
I know.
Like, this is, like, what is your perspective that is so different?
I know. Well, okay. So, like, I mean, we don't know. We don't know. I would invite it. I feel like it doesn't even come up, and I'm all surprised it doesn't come up because she's fighting Nazis in this chapter. But she grew up black in a city with a big white supremacist gang.
That's true, yeah.
And that is an experience that she has had that the other wards have not had. I mean, Aegis, I think, Aegis was Hispanic. And I don't know, I mean, so it's like, I guess I don't, it's tough to know. Is it just not specified or whatever?
Yeah,
but that's something
I don't remember.
That's something that comes to mind as being like an obvious difference, but it's not really brought up in the text. But we know Gallant is also like a super privileged guy, right? So like we don't necessarily know, but you know, they're
like, so is Emma. I don't know.
No, right? But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could imagine a lot of ways in which the other wards are more, you know, inside kids or something. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that does make sense. Yeah. But I was curious about the thing where she's like, they're just like visiting the city. And I'm like, are they, a lot of them are from the city.
Yeah. No, but it's
like,
clearly,
where are they from? Like,
but I think you're right that it just shows how skewed her perspective is and just how much.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
I don't
is
know if it's
blind
that she's
to the potential
wrong,
commonalities.
or if it's that she really is referencing this whole level of trauma that like really can't touch what they or that they can't touch.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, yeah, they've all had trigger event. I mean, you know, I don't know.
Right.
They're not all.
Weld
they're not all
has
glory
literally
girls.
no family because.
But I mean, like, no one cares about, like, we saw Dennis being like, Dennis is like, he doesn't have family, which makes him, like, not a person. Instead of, like, that's so sad for you. Well, you know, right? Like, so, Sophia's not going to do better than Clock Blocker in that regard.
No.
I do want to just say, the thing that felt most off to me about her is she's like, the wards, they keep talking about clothes. And I was like, hold on. Which ward has been bitching to Sophia about clothes? Because obviously it's not Vista, the other girl in the wards, right?
Yeah.
Because Sophia and Vista don't get along.
Right,
and
right.
like that she doesn't need that. And so I was thinking through all of the other ones and I'm like, it's got to be
Gallant?
one of the dead ones, right? Gallant, Aegis. So I was thinking, just my headcanon now is that I really think it's sad that Aegis has not gotten anything this arc, right? Like Gallant, we at least got a little bit, but like no one is in particular missing Aegis, which is so sad. It feels almost just like there just wasn't really enough room, and like kind of he got the short end of the narrative stick. You know, I don't know what else to say other than that, but my theory is just that Aegis, his one thing was he was super into clothes. Like that was his main thing. Everyone else was kind of like tolerant of it, and he was just constantly bothering all of the other wards about their wardrobe and stuff. Yeah. And so that's why we can't figure out which is the sartorial ward. It's because it was Aegis and he's no longer with us.
I do think that what she says, like, I can't believe it's already been this long, constantly hearing them bitch about dating or clothes or allowances. This must be referring to pre-Leviathan. Because, like,
of course.
No one has been talking about any of this stuff since then.
Yeah.
And I assume Gallant's the one who was bitching about dating, so...
Yeah. Definitely.
But, like, I did also think this was a really nice, pointed contrast to Miss Militia. It really echoes what she was saying in her...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she had this incredibly traumatic upbringing and then is in this position where she's like, they're complaining about stuff that just, like, doesn't matter. And she's just, like, nods along and, like, and is still, like...
I love that connection.
Very devoted to, like, protecting this new country that she has adopted, that has adopted her. And... Sophia also, it seems like, must come from some level of trauma and maybe wasn't able to, you know, surmount it as well as Miss Militia did when she got her powers. And it has made her incredibly bitter and hateful towards the people around her. Yeah,
that's interesting. And I mean, and also, generous to offer the sort of nurture explanation as well as the, like, Sophia sucks explanation.
I mean, she can suck because of nurture.
Yeah, I don't disagree when she says, like, oh, they're living in their comfortable, cozy little worlds and, you know, like, Leviathan revealed the truth about the city, right? Like, she's kind of not wrong in some respects, but I also feel like Sophia is also a child, right? She has very much this teenage thing of, like, well, I see the truth of the world and how bad it is, you know, like, and I'm going to listen to my, like, heavy metal and, like, really be like, ah! And... yeah, but, like, I also was like, I don't know, you're, like, 14, you know, I get that kids want to be grown up and stuff, but, like, children shouldn't have to live in the real world, right?
She's like 15.
No, I know, but you know what I mean? I was just kind of like, I feel like it's so ironic that it's just very teenager-y to be like, the world sucks and, like, everyone around me is children. It's like, oh my God, you're still going to be children when you're 20. Like, seriously. I guess, should we get into some of her philosophy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Leviathan had revealed the desperate, needy animal at the core of everyone in this city. Most were victims, sheep huddling together for security in numbers, or rats hiding in the shadows, avoiding attention. Others were predators, going on the offensive, taking what they needed through violence or manipulation.
But she doesn't care what category people are in, as long as they don't get in her way.
Yeah.
Or irritate her by being lame and depressing, like Taylor or like Vista had been this past week.
This is so telling to me, right?
Yeah.
So she has this really... It's a really weird vision of the world, right? Like putting peoples into categories, like the sort of like people are predators or prey, you know, like they're the sheep or the rats and I'm the wolf, you know. But this thing about like, people getting in her way, you said, is like a real sore spot for her. And then like how much it bothers her, right? Like people who seemed intent on irritating her, like Taylor, like Vista. She just has such a shallow sense of how she relates to others. Because what happened with Vista is Vista really got under her skin, was like identifying real like psychological weak points and pushing on them. And Sophia's like, I can't believe how like annoying Vista is being, right? Like,
I mean, I think that was referring more to like she's been crying a lot the past week. I don't think it was specifically referring to.
I guess that's fair. That's fair. But she goes on to say the victim personality had a habit of pissing her off, but she could let them be, right? She wants to like assume this neutral posture, which I think is papering over maybe some genuine insecurity, right? She's kind of like, well, I can choose to, like, let Vista be. Like, it's generous of me to let Vista be, right? Like, when she pointed out the security cameras and stuff, it's generous of me to walk away. Instead of being like, what does it mean that Vista's bringing this stuff up that I can't solve with violence, right? Like, I feel like she has this, like... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just like an authoritarian mindset. She's like, people should be in their place. And like, I'm not gonna let anything that I observe challenge this idea.
Well, there's definitely like a strong insecurity, it seems to me, at the heart of it. This idea of like, if one of these weak, pathetic, victim type personalities doesn't keep to their place, I have to put them back down in their place, because otherwise, if they threaten my place, then I might be like them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I
it's
do
the deep
assume
fear of being
a
the victim, the sheep.
I do assume her trigger event was her being a victim of something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another really telling thing she thinks is like, few would deny that I am an effective predator, or whatever she says. And in the last chapter, she says something to Vista like, oh, you're saying that about love, and you're going to feel so bad about how stupid you seemed saying that. Not how stupid you were, but how stupid you seemed. And like, few will deny that I'm a predator. It's so much about how she is seen, right? She has to constantly maintain this image of being a predator and being so tough and uncaring, right? She can't just like be confident that she is a predator, whether people think that or not, right? It really betrays this fragility.
Yeah. I do think we were talking about, like, when was she in love? Or, like, when did she have these feelings she thought was love? And, I mean, it didn't seem like she was in love with Emma in this chapter. But I do wonder if... I mean, this is a little like maybe what I conjectured for Tattletale. There was, like, someone she trusted who, like, she was stupid enough to trust. Like, I wonder if Sophia had a crush on someone who ended up hurting her really, really badly. Like, you know, not, like, breaking her heart, but, like... in some sort of abusive or violent way, and that was her trigger event.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and so she now looks back on those feelings, and she looks back on herself, the pathetic victim, as like something she needs to push down beneath her because she can't let it rise up and consume her. Right.
And and as you were saying, it's so funny that Taylor does come up in the chapter.
Yes.
Right. That's just one of
Twice,
these people
as
that annoys...
a victim and a predator.
Right, that annoys me. And then she thinks, like, I could almost respect Skitter, right, by the end of it. It's like...
She doesn't know.
Yeah. That's also... It's just... I love secrets in stories when they're played this
Dramatic
way.
irony.
Right, because it's like... This is one of those great, like, narrative promises that is made. It's the sort of, like, oh, this character doesn't know a thing that the reader knows. And, like... It's going to be so satisfying when, you know, the truth comes out. As we saw at the end of Arc 8. It's just, like, so fun.
Yes.
So yeah, the tension of just this, like, she doesn't know Skitter and Taylor are the same person is
Despite
so
the fact
fun.
that she, like, knows her body type and her hair. Come on, recognize patterns, Sophia.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that I was seeing is when she talks about craving catharsis, she's like, taking people down in close quarters combat was the entire reason for going out after having to deal with the irritation of Vista. Right? So like it's just the like non-specificity of that, not the like right, it's like she doesn't want to think about it. She just kind of has it like, oh yeah, well they're annoying and I can tolerate it, but you know, I just really need to like punch someone.
Beat someone up about it.
I'm not going to think about how I have to prove how tough I am. You know, like that I need to seek violent confrontation in order to prove to myself that I'm strong because this
I'm
girl
afraid
said,
of being weak, yeah.
This girl said, do you have feelings inside, Sophia?
This girl said that she pitied her.
Yeah.
Which means she's looking down on her.
Yeah. Oh. So the thing about her philosophy that jumped out as a strong thematic statement, there was a need for that kind of person in society. Someone willing to step on others to get to the top, do what was necessary so they could keep the wheels spinning. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so that was when she was talking about Piggot and Emma, right?
Yes.
Not all of them were so useful or tolerable, of course, but there were enough out there that she couldn't say everyone with that kind of aggressive, manipulative psychology was a blight on society. I mean, it kind of sounds like Coil.
Interesting.
Yeah. Someone who's willing to step on others to get to the top, do what is necessary to keep the wheels spinning.
Yeah.
I mean, we have seen, like, at the beginning, Brockton Bay is very poorly run. I mean, we don't really know anything about the government, but like 50% unemployment, like city's in a terrible condition. And you certainly could make an argument, and it seems like Coil is making that argument to himself, although I'm not sure how much morality figures into it for him at all.
Yeah.
But like, you know, doing what's necessary to keep the wheels spinning is, you know, the society has a need for that.
Yeah.
And I think that is a thesis statement that Taylor would strongly disagree with.
Well, interesting, because I feel like Taylor does identify a lot with the having to do what's necessary.
That's true.
I guess you're getting at the keeping the wheels spinning. It reminds me of the, and this is like more of a thematic spoiler than anything for Game of Thrones, but the Daenerys Targaryen speech where she talks about, you know, the wheel of all of the Seven Kingdoms, just like doing one thing after another, keeping the world spinning, and how she needs to break the wheel. So I guess there's a little bit of the like, you know, doing what's necessary just so people can keep on keeping on versus for some perhaps higher goal, which is maybe what Taylor aspires to. But I do feel like this people needing to do what's necessary or do what nobody else can do feels to me a lot like Taylor carving out Loon's eyes.
Interesting. But I don't think Taylor would think of that as someone willing to step on others to get to the top.
That's true.
Those are, I mean,
true.
Both the stepping on others, I mean, she wasn't crushing anyone who didn't deserve to be crushed, and she wasn't trying to get to the top.
That's true.
So there is a sense of, you know, this statement is evoking ruthlessness, but also a very specific kind.
Well, yeah, and no, and that's I think that's the more interesting, important difference is that Sophia is thinking about hierarchy. Right, that there are people who are on top and people who are on the bottom, and Taylor's thinking about consequences and outcomes.
That's
and
a really good way to put it.
Those are different. Yeah. Those are very different ways to think about your effect on the world.
Yeah. You know, it just occurred to me. Next, we have an interlude. I hope it's Piggot.
Do you want me to tell you what it says on the next page?
Yes.
Well, what it says is Parasite 10.1.
Okay, so this was an interlude arc, so we don't have a next interlude.
Correct.
Parasite. Ooh.
Creepy crawlies riddled the buildings.
Presumably this is wherever, well, maybe not where they're staying, maybe where they're bringing Sophia. So I assume we're back in Taylor's perspective, and I hope we pick up where we left off because it's a really action-packed scene. We're going to find out what they're going to do with Sophia. How are they going to restrain her? I assume Tattletale has come up with something that works.
I know.
Yeah, she is not easy to contain.
Yeah, any other thoughts about their plan? Or the arc name, Parasite?
I'm just thinking of that movie, which hadn't come out yet. The movie's so good. And that is kind of, you know, they're not really acting like that's not really Taylor's thing, like a parasite on society, but like, are they trying to like accomplish something by like sneakily drawing energy, power, something from a larger group? Like, I don't know. It conjures a little bit for me like their position relative to Coil's group right now, where like they are not, you know, they're sort of using him a little bit right now, being like, oh, we'll just need time to work stuff out. Like they're, you know, putting him off. And yeah, no, I don't know. It also doesn't necessarily have to refer to the Undersiders specifically. Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Exciting stuff.
I really don't have a sense. I don't have a prediction for their plan with Sophia.
Maybe we'll find out. Given that there is no more Arc 9, do you have any reflections or feelings overall?
I'm so sad that we're not going to get back into these wards' heads again. I mean, as far as I know, anytime soon. You know, it was so great to see what's going on with them in the day-to-day. I feel so attached to many of them.
Yeah.
And it's really a bummer that we kind of have to leave that story to the side. I'm hoping that we get glimpses, and maybe some of them will be bigger characters. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like I got a lot out of being in their world. Like, maybe this is why people need to read Ward after Ward. Like, you need to get back into maybe it's those wards. Yeah. But I really enjoyed seeing their team and seeing how they operate. Nice. And it feels like a good alternate story that we could have gotten.
Yes.
Really concerned about what Chariot's going to do.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. All right.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.